Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Buck Stops Here. I am Catherine Murray. Well, I thought today we would take a look at the state of the consumer, given concerns regarding how tariffs will or will not impact the consumer and the price of goods. And for that, we have a veteran within the space. Sucharita Kodali is joining us. She's VP and Principal Analyst at Forrester. Great to have you with us today. Thanks so much for joining us. I think there's a lot of question marks regarding the consumer, and you are seeing the negative impact on the stocks. The XRT, the retail ETF, one of them in the United States, has been a big underperformer, as have many of the stocks. So why don't we start from the top-down perspective? How are you looking at the consumer today?
Well, the consumer has been surprisingly resilient in spite of some of those stock stories. We certainly see the market being at an overall high, in large part driven certainly by some of the tech players, but the consumer story is mixed. I mean, there are certainly some players like Walmart and Costco that had highs earlier this year. It's been a little bit softer more recently. But certainly a lot of the story about consumer spend suggests that, particularly for those mass merchants where they're value leaders, their prices will likely rebound. The consumer is still very much purchasing at those venues. And when you look at their quarterly numbers, their year over year revenue is quite strong. I think that there is, Catherine, some concern about it's a big question mark, a what if for the tariffs, but we haven't seen catastrophe in the global markets due to these threats of tariffs.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. And even when you take a look at the inflation numbers out of the United States yesterday, somewhat in line. In other words, leading many to believe that the U.S. Federal Reserve will, in fact, cut rates, maybe two, maybe three times. I'm even seeing. But more importantly to our discussion today, it doesn't seem to be impacting the consumer. So I'm really wondering, and I think the market is, and probably institutional investors, if there are some significant opportunities within the retail space. What do you think or at least are some of the best areas, maybe underloved, or if they're winning, they're going to continue to win?
Well, the sectors that have been growing and continue to grow and that I'm confident aren't going to see any major drop offs are certainly in the value play. So, value means Walmart, although Target seems to be particularly soft. And I think that that's not necessarily a consumer demand issue. It's more of an executional issue that that particular retailer is facing. And that actually gives more oxygen to Walmart, to Amazon, particularly in its retail business. You have Costco continuing to do quite well. Its stock is a little bit down at the moment, but as I mentioned earlier, their overall revenues continue to be high. So I think that it's likely going to rebound. You also have the dollar channel, which in the last year was somewhat challenged by some overexpansion and some store closures. But when we're talking about value players, that's really one of the destinations that consumers are going to go to. The off-price channel, sectors that are dealing with any type of liquidation, and TJ Maxx as an example. But also you're seeing some vertically integrated players or players that are apparel specific, like for instance, Urban Outfitters is a good name because their latest brand is Reclectic, which is also an off price player. These are all areas that I think are places that in retail we should expect to see sustained growth.
Interestingly, when you take a look, though, at the Walmarts of the world, I think even some of the Costcos, where are the valuations today? I feel like we've already seen a nice run in some of these stocks.
The truth is that when we are looking at the overall retail sector, there's a lot of variance, and it's been a wacky retail environment pretty much since the pandemic. We saw tremendous growth in those essential retailers during the pandemic, and I think that there was a lot of high expectations that a number of them would continue that growth. Then what we saw significant decline in 2022, 2023, mainly because of concerns around inflation and what that was going to do to consumer sentiment overall.
Right.
And then we've seen since then a bit of a rebound from a sector standpoint. I think that you can't discount value.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.